butt, feeling like a weenie. But now it's 5:30, it's time for a martini. Welcome to our show, welcome to our Kiki, the 5:30 Quarantini. Hello, and welcome to the 5:30 Quarantini, the green edition.
The green edition. It's getting very spooky in here.
It's getting very spooky up in this
spooky season.
Oh my! Speaking of spooky season, you guys, spoiler alert, I wasn't going to announce this just yet, but we finally happened upon the episode where Dylan and I started drinking before the show. So the drinks are already made. I'm drinking a sensible vodka truly lemonade, but I'm drinking it in my spooky, I don't get out much cup.
Wait, yeah, there it is. That's a Hocus Pocus cup.
That is a Hocus Pocus cup, and he looks like he belongs on the show. Look at his
He does. He kind of matches.
Color palette.
You should put him right there and keep him in the entire episode.
Put him right here on top of my computer?
Yes.
I think not, but thank you for your recommendation. Hello and welcome to the show, you guys. If it's your first time tuning in or your first time since we moved from Instagram, welcome. We're glad you're here. Please do get involved in the comments. We don't know you're here until you comment, but once you do, rest assured we will show you some love. We can highlight you, get you involved. Hello, Grace. Welcome to the show. Ooh, look at that. That was teamwork, Dylan.
Thank you.
And also, if you're watching on Facebook, I've just figured out that, Dylan, I think your Facebook is set to private, so I don't know that we're going to see Facebook comments, which is not a big deal. If you want to get involved in the comments, come and join us on YouTube. It's so easy. Type our names into YouTube, and we'll be right there. How's that for housekeeping? How did I do?
I think you crushed it.
Great. I am so excited about today's episode, you guys. Our guest is a Broadway favorite. He is someone that I have watched on YouTube for... I mean, maybe since YouTube started. He had that Boy with Dreams senior showcase video that was like on loop in my dorm room. I was like, I want to sing like Will Blum when I get older. We're like the same age. I didn't mean to age anybody up there. But yeah, I'm a big Will Blum fan, and I'm so excited that he's here today. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. First, should we talk about the incredible fundraising that we have been doing for the past 2 months?
Yes, of course. If you were out at a bar with us and we were hosting this show, at your local gay bar, and you had a few dollars you wanted to toss our way, don't tip us. As we've been asking for the past 2 months, we are asking that if you have a few dollars, please throw them at Broadway for Biden. It is to support the Biden Victory Fund. And we think that with a little less than 2 months to a very big election...
2 weeks, Michael, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Dylan, this is why we shouldn't drink before the show.
I haven't started drinking yet. I'm just drinking a sensible ginger beer.
But with a little less than 2 weeks to a very big election, we think Broadway for Biden is probably about the best cause you could find. So yeah, if you have $5, $10, and you want to donate it over there, we've set you up a little tiny URL.com/BWayBiden, and you will have our gratitude and the gratitude of a nation clinging on to democracy.
It's true.
For its last
true.
hope.
It's true. And if in case you were in New York City, guess what starts on Saturday? Voting.
Early voting.
Early voting. And I will be there with bells on.
Yes, I'm going on the 24th. I am voting in person at Madison Square Garden.
So excited, yes.
Weirdly,
and I'm voting at the Museum of the Moving Image. Yes.
How fun. All right. Well, Dylan, I'm very excited. What do you say we jump into today's
Let's jump in. Yes.
All right.
Our guest today made his Broadway debut in the 2007 revival of Grease, replacing for the role of Roger.
Yes, with those good high notes. He also starred as Elder Cunningham in the Book of Mormon, Dewey in School of Rock, and most recently as Beetlejuice in the very appropriately spooky musical. Beetlejuice,
yes. And during quarantine, Will constructed throughout his entire apartment the Great Sand Cave from the musical Floyd Collins, and staged one of the most beautiful things that I've seen during this COVID times. And we can't wait to talk to him about that.
Truly, it's so awe-inspiring. It's so unbelievable. I cannot wait to hear more about it. Let's say his name 3 times and hope he shows up while we take a look at today's guest, Will Blum.
Whatever it takes to make them go crazy, raising the stakes by punching a baby. Scare them away till they break, they'll be quaking and cry. And get those guys to fight out their lives.
This cavern's gonna be the biggest attraction around these parts. And this time, folks will pay me to tour her wonders. No,
There ain't never been another man in here. No Indian, no thrill seeker, no damn crazy caving fool. Nobody, nothing, till I found her. God showed her to me first. There were moments of gold, and there were flashes of light. There were things I never do again, but they made all the seem right. There were nights of endless pleasure. It was more than any loss of love. Baby, 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 if you go or stay, I will love you as I do today, and I'll love you every single day from now on.
Oh my!
Will Blum!
This virtual
I
applause.
was not gonna let this go without mention of Harmony, the Barry Manilow musical that needs to come back.
One day.
One day.
I hope so. What a nice video.
What a real Dylan has really been stepping up the intro packages.
It's true.
And there's a lot for you, Mr. Will Blum. Welcome to the show. Thanks
Yes.
for joining
Oh,
us.
thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Oh my god, our pleasure. Where are you coming to us from today?
I am currently in the remains of the Great Sand Cave. I'm just the shell left behind in my apartment in New York, up in Harlem.
Amazing. Have you been in New York for the long haul, or have you strayed a little bit?
I have. No, I've been here, I think, almost the entire time. I've gone away 2 weekends to a friend's house upstate. But other than that, I've literally been in this apartment by myself the rest of the time.
All right. You're part of the New Yorkers Club. You really have been sticking it out with us.
That's it. So I live across the street from a park. You know, it's good. I get a lot of light in my apartment. I'm okay. I'm doing okay.
That's good. That's good. That's what we all need. We all need some light, and we all need a park to go hang out in.
And a
Not
therapist.
inside. And a therapist.
You know what
Yes,
I mean?
absolutely.
Good.
Well, cheers. Happy hour.
Cheers. I'm drinking Gatorade, but
Yes.
Great.
No, that's
You're
totally fine.
hydrating while I dehydrate. It's gonna be a great episode.
good. Please do it for me.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, Will, we have a lot to catch up on. We want to hear about how you've been in quarantine. But before we get to that, we would be remiss to not first re-congratulate you on Beetlejuice, which, of course, was a crazy hit musical. I saw it twice. Dylan, I think, saw it a few times as well.
Yeah.
Had the best time. And I got to see you in the role one of those 2 times, which was such a treat.
Amazing.
And you were just incredible. What an incredible show to be a part of. I know you guys have picked up like a lot of this fan following, and there's just so much energy still behind. You know, as we are quarantined, as Broadway is shut down, as Beetlejuice has taken its final bow. Maybe for now, I don't know. I'm going to cross my fingers, and maybe there's a future for this show. There is still so much energy behind that show. What were those final performances like? What was it like, kind of being at the Winter Garden as all of this was kind of as coming to a head?
Yeah, it was odd. Well, and I ended up doing the last show as Beetlejuice. I was on, so it was, it's just weird. It wouldn't have been. That it didn't last, that you didn't even get to appreciate the last show for being the last show. But it was really interesting. And I was telling somebody today, who was saying, oh, well, everybody just was confused about when Broadway would come back. And I really felt like I knew as soon as they shut down Broadway, I was like, I went home and I have not left. I could tell how severe that was, but something kind of that like beautiful just by chance happened that did make it kind of like feel good was both of our stage door security men were photographers, incredible photographers. And one of them, Davey, does the like portraits that you see of everybody. Like those are, he just had a great seamless by the door, and we just before we go on stage we take pictures. But Matt did panoramic pictures of the stage door of people signing at the stage door. So
wow,
it's a picture of me signing on the very last day that there was a stage door. Like they shut down the stage door, I think 2 days before. And then, but I'm wearing gloves, you know what I mean? And I mean, we're not masked. Everybody's crowded around. We didn't know then, you know what I mean? That was it, you know? And so like, it's so funny just wearing masks, but being like right next to me. So, I mean, so anyway, but I framed that, you know what I mean? Like at the beginning, it was just like, this might be the last stage door. You know what I mean? We don't know what the protocol is going to be for the future. And as a stage door kid, you know what I mean? Like I pulled Nika Larson off a bus in Nashville, Tennessee after Rent because I needed her autograph. I put my head between my legs when I met Victoria Clark after lighting the piazza. Like I'm that kid, you know what I mean? And I still am. Like they are not my peers, even though I can maybe pretend. But so the stage door just means so much to me, and so knowing that at least for a while might be the last stage door, you know, not regardless of, you know, theater not coming back, but it just that event might be off limits, you know, from now on. So I was glad to have that moment captured so beautifully, you know, by a professional photographer and just like a sea of all the fans. It was just a beautiful way to remember that experience for sure.
That's really incredible.
I wasn't so sad, you know, everybody's like, "Oh, are you so sad?" And I was just like, well, as an understudy, I didn't go on for the first 200 shows. So when anytime I would go on, especially when we were nearing the end, because we were going to close in June anyway, I was like, well, this might be my last show. You know, I don't know. So I got to sort of, as an understudy, you sort of live that life anyways of like, I don't know when I'm going on again. This might be my one and only time going on. So it's special. It's a lot more special. I'm glad in a way it was really special for me no matter what. And I feel bad for the people who do the show 8 times a week, who it was just, you know, another Wednesday night show or whatever, you know, whatever. So it was sad, but it's a remarkable company overall.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool though, that to kind of point out the fact that like your experience was heightened to begin with, knowing that this was a chance to play this really, really spooky, delicious role. And then kind of to be able to do the stage door, to be able to see people, to be able to be a part of that energy is really, really cool. I think stage doors will be back. But yeah, I think it's going to take a while. The flip side, of course, which is that like in this age where we're questioning stage doors and we can't get together, and like this industry that thrives on community is being pulled apart. There is just this silver lining of like, I didn't know what Zoom was before this all started, and like surely Dylan and I didn't know how to do this, and like it's been, there have definitely been like little silver linings of like finding new ways to connect that I'm very grateful for, and so I'm interested to see what the next kind of way that theater makers and theater appreciators are able to find their way into dialogue and find their way into expressing gratitude for each other and find ways to get to know each other, whether that is a new way of stage dooring or whether that becomes something else. I am very intrigued to see what the next kind of life of that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's sort of what I'm focused on now as well. I think kind of in the same way that I kind of knew that Broadway would be shut down for a long time, like right from the start, I knew right away that I needed to stop waiting for producers to cast me in something. Like my career is made up of either working or waiting. And I realized that, and while I think actors are more prepared to be unemployed than anybody, it's like, at first it was like 3 months, great, at least whatever, fine, I'm used to this, But knowing that normally during that time, it's because you're waiting for somebody and you're auditioning and doing these things. And so when I realized I would not be, no producer is going to call, right now, I was just like, okay, you're your own producer.
Right.
Stack your season. What do you want to do? And just for the first time, and like you say, like good things have come out of it. Like I have thrived creatively. Like I've never been more authentically creative myself since college, because not to use the Floyd Collins metaphor, but I just broke myself out of a box that Broadway and the theater community had put me in, and I'd gone from playing Floyd Collins in college to Horton the Elephant in my professional life. And so I learned really quickly how the world saw me, how the world wanted to see me. And I've really stuck to that, and I've made sure, and I have made myself the fool, for and I love doing comedy no matter what, but it was never, I didn't do a stitch of comedy until I got into my professional life, and only because like I was chubby. It was just like, well, and my voice luckily was the thing that sort of got me the role, put me over the top. Like I only got Grease because I was the only one who could sing it. You know what I mean? The crazy part that Daniel Everidge was like, I'm going to be above. All I could get up to was
do you know how many Roger callbacks I have turned down? I have been like, not in a million years. You must be crazy.
He's ruined it. In the original, it's an A. You know what I mean? It's nothing. Right. Yeah. Fine. But he was like, let's go up.
Let's just keep
I've replaced a lot of boys who said, let's take it up. And, it's really unfortunate. So.
Oh my goodness.
To talk back to what we were just talking about, your Floyd Collins reference, congratulations. Like, what a remarkable and like beautiful piece that you put together. It was when it first like came out, I was like, first of all, huge Floyd Collins fan here as well, obsessed with it. Like, we did it in college as well.
Yeah,
can't. But what was like that first thing that was like, okay, like, let me just start collecting all of these boxes? Like, what was the cardboard, like, where did that come from? Like, what sparked that?
I guess I had decided on the material first. I think my initial idea, and I don't know if you've seen any of the other sort of quarantine music projects that I had done before that were sort of like the, beta tests for what Floyd Collins became. But I did Octet and Heart of Music in the acapella app and had all these little boxes. And I think it's hard to know where the ideas came in and out or whatever, or how they sort of formed into the right one. But it began with the idea that I would make the boxes the cave, and that I would not only do the echoes live in those boxes, but that I would use the boxes as a cave, and I would like appear in one and then go down, and then I'd come out the top of the, something like
Got
that.
It, yeah.
But I realized that was hokey. No, I mean, it's fun, but it's a gimmick, and the material to me is holy. You know what I mean? Honestly, I think it is so well written and so I mean, it's like, I don't know what I should say. I mean, but it's like tripping on mushrooms, where it's just like, it is so rich. It makes ordinary life. You know what I mean? And that was part of it. It's just like, well, people like this. It's about a guy who likes caves. You know what I mean? Right. But like, like who likes caves? But realizing for me, it's just like, okay, this guy finding this cave is me winning a Tony Award. You know what I mean? That's how much this means to him. And so translating that joy, that's what it initially was about for me, because and even the music projects before that stemmed out of, honestly, the George Floyd murder and Breonna. Like, I was just so angry and alone. And I realized singing is one of the only times where I feel really, really good. And so like, I was like, okay, let's make people smile. You know what I mean? Do something that, everybody just at the beginning, the best advice I got towards the beginning of this was pick a lane. You know what I mean? In terms of any social action right now, just like, what do you, because it's really upsetting to me that I can't fix the world single-handedly, and to say like, okay, I make people smile, and I know that I can bring joy. I know that these cheeks say Little Debbie and they'll make people smile, and so that's where it started. And then, but it was really because Andy Einhorn said I had gone for he had agreed to be my musical director, which, I mean, first of all, I was like, this has to be a great idea now, because I have to match his integrity, really.
Yes, right.
And I said, well, maybe I'll just get like a nice microphone and do it, like it's a recording session. He was like, oh, well, then just do How Glory Goes. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, I wanted to do it because it sounded like you were going to do something theatrical. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, but he was so right. He was so right.
Well, like this idea of like, if you're going to do it, just
go big. Yes.
And it was already an ambitious doing a 13 minutes, 3-piece folk aria, was already ambitious. So I had a ton of different ideas of how I would do it, but I definitely was, I guess, just really set on doing this piece. And I think I understood why that was important later. But I went home after the talk with Andy and I, like a lot of people, maybe hadn't taken all of their boxes out since the beginning of quarantine. Yep. And I saw this bit, and I was like, I foolishly thought that would be enough to build the cave. It took care of maybe like an eighth of it at most, but I had the idea immediately and I think it was percolating. I think I knew that was an option, but recognized that it was crazy. It was just like, well, you could always build a cave in your apartment, but
in our large New York City apartments that we all have, where we have rooms for a cave.
Right. And for anybody watching who maybe doesn't know what we're getting to, just to jump forward real quick. So this idea and this pile of boxes eventually becomes a 13-minute YouTube video of, it's like a 3-song arc from Floyd Collins that you perform in this unbelievable cave of cardboard and duct tape that wraps your entire apartment. It is truly awe-inspiring. But before we get to the cave, let's jump back. You've had the meeting with Andy. He's told you, like, hey, if you're going to do it, you better do it. Right. You see these boxes. Did you understand how big this would grow? Did you think maybe you would set it up in one room? Were you aware that this was about to become, like, life-consuming?
Yes. Honestly,
okay, good.
I knew immediately, because I was like, okay, well, do I even have enough space to do this? And, by chance, when COVID started, I didn't have any roommates at the time, and I just kept it that way because I was like, okay, well, I don't know what the hell's going on, and now, but that was even a part of it. I was just like, well, I'm paying for this whole apartment. I might as well, like,
use it,
use some of these rooms,
Yeah.
And so I immediately did a dry run with a selfie stick and just scooted around my apartment while I played the cast recording to know how long it would take, how much space. But I kind of knew in the apartment where I could go. So honestly, the first dry run that I did is almost exactly the path that it ended up being. I sort of extended it in certain ways, more than anything, just to give more room towards the end, like right after that corner clip that you showed. Yeah. But it became overwhelming. And also too, I knew that for sound and things that, and because the structure was cardboard, that I didn't want to be scraping against any of it, that I needed to create it around me so that it looked tight, but that I wouldn't accidentally, that I would, or could even maneuver it, block it in a way where I could, just slide past and not touch anything.
And I think something that I definitely did not realize, because, you dropped this video and it took over all of my social media channels, and Will Blum was the other thing we were talking about for like 2 days. So I had already seen it, but I revisited it today, obviously getting ready to hang out with you for this. And I do one other show on this YouTube channel that involves lip syncing to parody songs. And I was watching yours, not even thinking about it, and I was like, damn, his lip sync is so good, and it's 13 minutes straight. And then I got to like minute 8, minute 9, minute 10, and I was like, oh shit, he's live singing. This is actually like all live. It blew my mind. I guess just as somebody in this world of like electronic presentation, it didn't even occur to me that you might be crazy enough to undertake doing the vocal live. But it just is another level of mind-blowingness to this whole thing.
Thank you. I mean, that was an important aspect of it to me, because underneath it all, other than it being hopefully really entertaining for people, it's a thesis on what theater is right now. And there are elements of theater that we can have if we just understand that the form we're most comfortable with is off limits.
Right.
But somebody singing live, a one shot, from start to know that I did do 20 takes in order to get the call all in one shot with no mistakes. That feels theatrical to me. Mm-hmm. Singing live feels theatrical to me. Doing a portion of a show long enough for you to fall into it enough to believe in the make believe, and the same thing of not actualizing the cave, to not make it paint it and show, but in that same way I did purposefully put logos and address forms and stuff at the beginning, so you see, and then slowly strip that away for many reasons. One, so that you fall into it, but also so that when you see the sign where he gets trapped, that you really see that, you know what I mean, that those words stick. And well, it was really fun. I got to FaceTime. I mean, I love hearing that your friend, that it was on your social media channels. It's so weird getting virtual applause because you don't hear most of it. It's you know who's sharing it or loving it or whatever. But I got to FaceTime with a couple of people, and I was away for the weekend for my birthday with friends when I showed it to them, and hearing them gasp when they saw that sign, or hearing them exhale when I entered the big cave. Like, I was just like, this is what I miss about theater. You know what I mean? And that's kind of why I hate doing film. Like, I don't look at film as like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I've been waiting to do this. No, this is the emergency lifeboat for theater right now. It is not, and it should be thought of that way, because it's so easy to do what film does best and to just actualize it and do all of these things. But it was really important to me that you see the cardboard, but that you still believe in it. You believe in make believe. And to me, that's theater. The curtain rises, and we are trained to believe that even though I know it's fake, let's go with it.
And well, that whole start
for a while,
right? Yeah, and that whole start from kind of the very two-dimensional storybook kind of welcome into like, oh, here's this actor and here's some cardboard boxes, and then the deeper and deeper you went, you kind of, all of that peels away because the story kind of takes over, and by the end, when you're in that big room with the lantern, like, yes, there's still cardboard boxes, but like, I wasn't even thinking of it like cardboard anymore.
Exactly.
Like, it was such a different world, and you become so invested in what you're building on your end that for us as an audience, it just feels like a totally different journey by the time you get there. It's very cool.
Thank you. I honestly, I knew it. I kind of knew it would mean something to the Floyd Collins fans, but I am overwhelmed that I have made Floyd Collins fans out of Beetlejuice fans. You know what I mean? Right. The fact that I've made Adam Gettle accessible to people, like, that's what I'm obsessed with, because it's just like, I find this work so beautiful in there. And the same thing with trying to do pieces like Octet and things like that, just like, I want you to, I know you love Beetlejuice, but like, hey, what about this really challenging thing? Right. By the way, you heard In the Green?
In the Green? No.
The Grace McLean musical from last season just released her album last week. You have to. It's I'll
add it to the list right now. I love Grace McLean.
I've listened to it like 37 times already. I'm not joking. It's like, it's an obsession right now. So sorry,
well,
but
I know what I'll be doing as soon as this is over. Well, your Floyd Collins video is a masterful undertaking, a delicious, amazing performance to watch, and also functions as a segue for today's game of the day. Today's game of the day is inspired by the one-man set designer, construction team, and technical director Will Blum in honor of his recently released Floyd Collins online presentation. Will, you created a 20-segment cave using almost 500 pieces of cardboard and 84 rolls of Gorilla Tape. So in today's game, all of the answers will either contain the word card or board. It's as straightforward. It's as straightforward as we get on this broadcast.
Okay.
I will ask a question. You will give me an answer that contains either card or board. As always, since I was in charge of making your game today, Dylan has not seen the questions or the answers, which means he is on your team. Also, everybody in the comments are on your team, so you really have a whole group of people here.
I can't see the comments. It's okay.
Well, that's okay. I'll highlight them.
Tell me.
Yeah, I'll highlight the comments on the stream.
It's gonna be great. We have 10 questions. Some are easier than others, but if you get stuck, I also have clues. It's gonna be a great time. Let's start here with our first question. Although you're probably gonna see rounded ones nowadays, this thing was originally designed to be a rectangle. It was designed to be ridden shoeless, and before it rose to the $5 billion industry that it is today, it was just a little-known thing called sidewalk surfing.
Skateboarding.
Skateboarding.
That would be skateboarding. I should have also mentioned if you get it right, you will hear Alex Newell riffing, and if you get it wrong, you will hear something else. But that's 1 for 1. Our first answer, of course, was skateboarding.
I'm going to get it wrong just to hear what the wrong sound is.
Well, honestly, we need some more wrong sounds. I only have 2 of them, so if you get more than 2 wrong, you're going to
you'll hear the other ones again.
So do your best.
Make the sound live.
Yes.
All right, we are 1 for 1. Here comes your second question.
It was hard.
This piece of clothing was named, and I also should mention, I forgot to mention the whole thing. I got too excited. Our comments are about 15 seconds behind us. If you really get stuck, just
look, they're getting it.
Yeah, just like look pensive, and then you can like look at the comments. They'll be there to help you out. Way to go, Broadway Biz. Way to go, Grace. You guys all did great on that one. Here comes question number 2. This piece of clothing was named after James Brudenell, an earl and a British Army Major General. It is modeled after the knitted wool waistcoat that British officers wore during the war. It sounds like war twice. It's going great. Coco Chanel later made them for women who didn't want to mess up their hair by pulling a, quote, masculine sweater over their head.
Cardigan.
You are correct. That would be a card again. Way to go.
Wow. Thank you. That felt really good. I've never been so happy to get something right.
I don't think I got it until you said a masculine sweater.
It's not a masculine sweater. You can just bring it around.
Yes.
Yeah. Who knew? It was named after James Brudenell, who was the Earl of Cardigan.
Wait, really?
Yeah. That's how it got its name.
Okay.
The more
you know.
If you're just tuning in, this is a game based on card and board. All of the answers will have either card or a board in them in honor of Will Blum's epic performance, epic cardboard performance of Floyd Collins. Here we go. This one, very straightforward. This term is anything that has to do with your heart.
What? Anything to do with your heart?
Yeah, your heart.
Oh, cardiac.
I would have taken any of them. Cardiologist, cardiac, cardio.
Because it's anything to do with the heart.
There you go. Way to go, Haley.
Yes, Haley got it.
If you're 15 seconds behind, she got it before us. I think Haley gets that point.
All right.
But Haley's on our team, so that's good.
Great. Thanks, Haley.
Yes, thank you, Haley.
All right, you are 3 for 3. This is going better than I thought it would, so this is great for everybody. Let's move on to the next question. I'm a fan of this question, so let's go here next. One of the most famous examples of this is in Chicago. It was built in 1937, is multiple stories tall, and is completely hand-operated by multiple men inside of it.
Hand operated.
How about that?
Multiple stories tall.
And completely hand operated by multiple men inside of it.
What are they operating?
The thing.
The thing.
And it's famous where?
It is in Chicago.
Is this a trick question? Is it cardboard?
It's not.
No.
Could you imagine
no,
inside-
No.
It is not
Inside cardboard is multiple people inside of cardboard.
I did learn a lot about cardboard today because before I made this game, I was just going to do trivia about cardboard. And like 5 questions into writing it, I was like, this is the most boring game I've ever written.
Thank you for changing.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's look at the comments. Does anybody have this? No, everyone is still saying
no one's done
cardiac.
it. Well,
Everyone is still saying cardiac.
let me give you...
That one was hard.
This famous thing
Okay.
is inside a... This famous thing is housed inside a famous landmark in Chicago.
Okay. So it's
Scoreboard?
It is a scoreboard.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
it's the scoreboard, board as in cardboard.
Operated by many men.
And it is it's at the Chicago, it's at Wrigley Field in Chicago. It is one of the oldest scoreboards in the world. It is 3 stories tall, and they run up and down the stairs, and they put the things in the windows, and they change the score. How about that?
Okay.
Amazing. That was a good one. That was hard.
That was a good one.
All right, but you did get it. Proud of you. Here we go.
I love that the Broadway whiz said glass
tower? That one was hard, Grace.
Not score nor board.
All right. As a reminder, all of the answers will either contain the word card or board. So in scoreboard, it contained the word board.
Yes.
Moving on. In a low fantasy children's, I don't know what that means, but that's what Wikipedia told me. It's called low fantasy, not high fantasy. In a low fantasy children's novel published in 1980, a young boy named Omri places a figurine of an Iroquois chief inside this thing, and he becomes alive.
The Native American.
That's right. It was a cupboard. The Native American or Indian or Iroquois chief inside the cupboard.
I love that book. I was obsessed with that book. I'm also just obsessed with like miniature things.
Mm-hmm.
I think because Nutcracker, like I love like from the mice's perspective, you know, and like I love seeing like Gulliver's Travels, all that stuff. Yeah,
and that movie, like I grew up on that movie.
Really,
the feature film. I grew up on it.
I was already a snob and like hated the movie because I loved the book so much.
You love the book so much.
You're like 7.
Things are different.
God, I didn't start saying the book was better than the movie until I was an adult. You were ahead of your time. The book's better.
Asshole a long time. Really, I think, yeah.
All right, well, you're 5 for 5 so far. You're nailing it. Here comes a very straightforward question.
Let's use it.
Yeah.
If you were on a ship, this would be to your right.
Starboard.
That is correct. Starboard, or starboard, is to the right in nautical terms. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, it's where Patti LuPone likes to sit on a plane on the starboard side.
Really?
Yeah, fun fact.
How do you know that?
I'm not going to tell you why I know that. Maybe I'll tell you when we get off the air, but Patti likes to sit on the right side of a plane, and now you know.
I think it depends on where we're flying and where the sun is for me. It's odd that she would just say that no matter what.
Well, she's Patti LuPone. She can do whatever she wants.
She's very definitive about a lot.
Yes, it's true.
All right.
That's so interesting. I did not know that.
We have 4 left, and I have yet to stump you gentlemen. Here comes your next question. Okay. This series of ordered drawing... This drink is delicious. This series of ordered drawings is a visual representation of a film sequence.
Storyboard.
That is correct. You're 7 for 7, Will Blum. That's, of course, a storyboard.
Wow.
And that leaves just 3 questions to go. It's hard for me to tell if anyone in the comments is getting these or if they're just hearing you answer them, finding out it's correct, and then typing them in. Guys, don't take advantage of those 15 seconds, you guys. I'm on to you. Okay, let's see. How do I want to do our last 3 questions? Can I stump you? I don't know that I can, but I'm going to try. What?
I can pretend if you like.
No, you don't have to pretend. Don't pretend. Go for the gold. Come on, it's a pandemic. You got to take victories where you can.
Of course. I I need the win. I need the win.
Everybody,
All right.
yeah.
During their courtship, these animals express affection by the male feeding the female seeds beak to beak. They're one of the only animals like this to do so, which is strange because it resembles kissing.
Adorable. Dylan, you
Cardinals.
know. There we go.
It is indeed the cardinal. The alternate clue, if you didn't get the kissing clue, was that it's a red bird or a leading bishop. But I felt like that was a little obvious.
No, I honestly, I thought of cardinal, unfortunately, right away, because I was like, what animal? Cardinal. You know, it was just
it was like birds, cardinal.
Great.
Nailed it.
Great teamwork, Dylan. Great job.
Thank you. Good
Well,
job,
we've
Will.
got 2 to go. Here comes question 9. This consists of 64 squares in 2 colors.
Chessboard? Checkerboard?
Either of the above. The alternate clue was in You Can't Stop the Beat. Penny uses this as an allegory for racial integration.
For that one, you really should have played chess. You should have had chess ready.
Oh my gosh, a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to come back, and we'll fire up some more specific sound cues.
It's on the list of future videos. So
listen, if you could see what I'm doing over here between StreamYard and the soundboard and the microphone,
I didn't mean to critique.
Did anyone see that picture of the guy that like switched the Oscars from his living room and he had
yes.
That's what I feel like I'm doing right now. I'm like pulling the levers, making it happen. I have it's a lot. It's a lot going on over here.
No, forgive me for critiquing.
Yeah, how dare. Okay, moving on. You're 9 for 9. It all hinges on this question. This is for a perfect game of
perfect 10. Perfect 10.
A perfect 10 in the game of card and board. You're gonna get this. How can I make this harder? Let's see. This thing comes in both green and black varieties. It is commonly found in Indian cooking, and the green variation is one of the most expensive spices in the world by weight.
Dylan, do you know?
I think I do know.
I think I do
just
too.
Because I just watched Mindy Kaling and Kamala Harris cook together. Has anyone watched that video yet?
Oh my god, no, but I want to.
Okay, well, look it up when we're done with this. Is it cardamom?
It is cardamom.
They cook Indian cooking together, and it's.
Oh my god!
I know. It was it was from a while back, but it's good.
Kamala Harris is excellent at doing things, like just things. I would watch her do anything. I would particularly like to watch her be the first female vice president of the United States, but she's excellent in a lot of things. All right, let me check my scorecard here and just see how we did. We're going to call that a perfect game for Will Blum in a trivia game about cardboard. 10 for 10. Well done.
If I didn't win a game about cardboard, what would I even do with myself? I'd have to take down the video. I wouldn't be worthy.
that would have been it. That would have been it.
That would be your only loss. Just taking down the video.
But lucky for everyone, you played a perfect game. Who knew you knew so many card and board words?
Thank you. What do I win?
You're invited back on the show anytime you want. Congratulations.
You can premiere any video you'd like on this network.
Yes.
There'll be a new one soon.
I can't
wait.
Yes.
Well,
I've traded cardboard for actors this time. So.
Oh.
Yes.
That's so luxurious.
November 1st it comes out.
Oh my gosh! Right around the corner.
Yeah, we film on Saturday. That's why I am a mess. I'm growing. I was telling Dylan I would have cleaned myself up a little bit, but I'm going for a castaway look. So
listen, it's a pandemic. We are very come as you are. We're very.
Everybody's coming to my hairstyle these days. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna grow my hair out and let it be crazy." I'm like, bitch, I've been doing this for years.
You're like, I've been doing that for years. And also, the book was better than the movie.
Yeah. The book was better than the movie. My hair has always been long. Where have you guys been? I've been in my house for 8 months.
I love
Oh my
it.
gosh. Well, I'm very excited to hear that something else is coming out for you
Yes,
next
absolutely.
month. I will be waiting with bated breath. If you are watching and you don't follow Will Blum, his handle is scrolling across the bottom of the screen now. Make sure you give him a follow. Here it comes. There
There
it
it
is.
is.
It's his name. How easy is that, you guys? And you too can find out what is headed our way in 8 short days. Not to stress you out, but in 8 short days,
No,
something
9.
big is coming.
9. The countdown actually begins tonight on my stories, so you might figure out what it is from.
All right.
Oh.
Well, I can't wait.
It has
Will, there's
people
2
in it?
questions. It does. I heard there's people in it, and it's coming out on November 1st. Those are the 2 pieces of information we know so far.
Yes.
I'm going to start a list, start ruling things out. There are 2 questions that we've asked all of our guests as we have developed this show, and so they're coming your way now. Question number 1 is: we know that this world is in a crazy place, and things are weird and often kind of crappy. But what is one thing that has brought you some joy during this pandemic? Something that's brought you joy, or kept you going, or kept you creative during all of this mess?
Honestly, I mean, I said it before, and it sounds like, I know how queer it sounds, but like, I love singing. Singing is I think, but more so for everybody to just figure out what it is that, and another thing for me is taking a shower. I know that taking a shower like makes me feel good. So sometimes I'll just sing in the shower and just take I feel bad about the water, but like, man, it helps my mental state a lot. I've been really inspired by the people who are trying to make theater. I think London in particular is doing a really great job of doing live theater streamed.
Yeah.
And I really wish that our colleagues are now, I mean, I'm hearing about regional theaters picking this up before I hear any New York producer doing this. So
Right.
I will say I'm just really impressed by the people who are sort of, I think, accepting that we have to make a new form right now, and that I hope it's only temporary. Like, I can't wait till I don't have to make these videos anymore.
Right.
I'm glad to have an actual audience again. But in the meantime, we just can't stop. We just can't wait around. And so one of the things that really got me going was Michael Urie's Buyer and Seller. And I was his understudy in Torch Song, and I got to like, that's sort of this thing that made him. But I was just like, it worked well on camera. It was a one-man show. I was just like, he did like 2 camera. He just did a really creative, really good job, and knew the boundaries, and just said like, oh, this is something that can be done online, and it will bring joy to people, and it's theater because I'm going to do it live, and so that, and even some of the performances in the Sondheim celebration, like Elizabeth Stanley in particular doing Miller's Son, really inspiring to me, because she was very natural on film and just sang the song to the camera, and it wasn't cringy or precious, you know what I mean? Where I was just like, okay, this is almost like theater. Why is this almost like theater? So yeah, the people who are really, and I understand everybody's not in the place to be creative, and it's such a crazy world. I'm a person who only expresses their internal emotions through art. So, and I normally reserve it for going to the theater, like, and therefore a curtain goes up and I'm crying because I have the excuse. But not having that every week, like, I make money so that I can see a show on my nights off, and not having that is awful. Is really, really awful. So I understand why people are hurt that they can't do it and therefore don't want to do it. You know what I mean? I understand all the aspects of it, but I think the people who are trying are really, really, really brave in my book.
Yeah, incredible.
Yes.
And that you've worked.
Did I answer the second question?
Well, you've worked.
You've kind of worked around. Yes.
I'm gonna pose it anyway.
I'm a tangent queen. I'm sorry.
No, honestly, you're perfect. Not that we are rushing past, not that we are rushing through this healing process for the world, not that we are rushing to get back to stuff before it is safe and prudent to do so, but if and when, because it will, if and when the world starts to resemble itself again, what are you looking forward to? What's kind of that light at the end of the tunnel, that thing that you can't wait for when we start to feel like ourselves again in a world that functions like itself again?
I can't wait to see a show again. That's what I want more than anything. I hope Beetlejuice comes back, but if it doesn't, I can't wait to see 6. I'm really mad I did not buy a ticket to 6 or to Company because I just didn't want to shell out the money at the time. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you fool! Diana was the last show I saw before the shutdown, and I really want to sit in the theater again with people and not worry about it. Because even that day, I saw Jagged Little Pill and Diana on the same day, the day that, the last day that Broadway was open. Mm-hmm. And it was still scary. It was like nobody wanted to sit next to each other. It was like this thing, so even the last time I went, it still wasn't the same.
Right.
But more than anything, I think what I really want is to not perform. I would really like to direct. I enjoy that the world is, I guess I'm excited that I'm sharing this part of myself with the world, because nobody's, like I said, no producer's really given me the opportunity to show myself in this way as both an actor and a director. And so I'm really hoping, after seeing some of these videos, and it's starting to happen a bit, where people are recognizing that I have more to offer than being a clown, and I can do it, and I love it. I love being Beetlejuice, and I loved being, all these funny guys. But I'm Floyd Collins. You know what I mean? I'm really glad to show that side of myself, and to say, I'm like, okay, well, I can be Floyd Collins if I make the cave myself, and that's it. So I'm really excited to. I think no matter what I do next, I will be more authentically myself because of this time.
Yeah, and that's incredible. And
that's great.
And I'm glad that this time is affording you kind of, when the walls fall down and you get to build whatever you want back up.
Right.
It's pretty cool, and I'm super glad to hear that. And I am energized to hear that from you, to hear that you are working your way into other artistic rooms of the house. You mentioned directing. What? We don't have to. You don't have to give me your entire mission as an artist. But what do you find yourself super attracted to? Like, if you got to pick the next project for you to kind of helm, what are you excited by? Is it huge, commercial, glitz and glam, razzle dazzle? Is it intimate, cardboard? I can't wait for someone to put up a tent on 45th Street and let Will Blum build a cardboard.
Oh my God!
Cave. Could you imagine?
Right where
Natasha Pierre was
for a while.
Dylan, that was the joke. Thank you for picking it up.
I had to figure it out.
I saw it in the tent 3 times. That was my favorite, and that goes right into it. That's the kind of theater I love. I think I'm kind of hitting a good point where the aesthetic that I like, which is poor theater, is just sort of necessary right now. I love cardboard. I call my aesthetic as a director homemade magic. You know what I mean? I'm very, very inspired by Our Town and Angels in America, and the idea of seeing the strings when there has to be strings, but otherwise there's no set, there's no costume. I do not want anything, especially for film. Film is so literal, it's just like, I don't want anything that the audience can ask a question about and that won't be answered.
Right.
So that's the kind of stuff I'm attracted to. There are 2 projects that I'm working on right now of possibly like full versions of things. So I shouldn't say what those really are yet, but I mean, that I love that people are interested in Floyd, and there was a lot of thinking about, like, do I continue on with this in my apartment even, and it was just something that I couldn't do emotionally by myself, because it gets so hard after that point that I couldn't do it. But I was like, gosh, I hope a producer calls and says, hey, do you want to do the rest of it? So it's possible that might come about. But it's really important to me too that I think after this there's going to be a huge sort of resurgence of like the off Broadway movement in the 70s, of just like we're taking to the streets. We're already seeing musicians on the streets. I think people need to start learning one man, one woman shows and start doing them in living rooms. I think we need to really stop saying, I'm only going to perform if there's over 100 people in the house or 100 people in the, you know what I mean? It's
right.
Yeah.
And what's kind of beautiful about doing this piece, I'm working the cast that I'm working with right now is 10 people, and having all those people together, but it's like we're just doing this video, so it's like we're playing by community theater rules, you know, like
Right.
everybody's like making their costume out of clothes in their closets and stuff, where it's like, this is so fun. Everybody's doing theater for theater's sake, like it's community theater. Like after our day jobs, we come and do that, you know, and it's just, nothing has been more heartwarming. Like I was the kid on the playground who made cast lists that nobody wanted to join, and so like the best part about this too,
I think
is
we've
like,
all been there. Yeah.
I was literally like, I was like,
we've been in the same place. All these
you said that out loud, and I was like, I need to write that down. And then I was like, Michael, it's going to be on YouTube forever. Just watch it back later. Yes, I feel that on a deep level.
But it's just having that sense of community and collaboration, and even in Floyd, when I did part 2 with my friends Austin and Kendall, God, that was so much more fun than doing the call by myself. You know, it's just having people in the room, having that perspective, but really everybody just doing it for. And the other thing is, and it's why I asked Andy Einhorn at first, because I was like, well, normally I would never assume that Andy Einhorn would be like, hey, do you want to do this video with me for Instagram? Right. He's like, it's quarantine, I know, you know, and of course he actually is very busy, but still wanted to help me. But it was that same thing when asking people to help me with this video. I was like, well, I love this person. Maybe I'll just ask them, you know, if they want to be a part. And people, I'm so honored that people just want to play. Like that's the main thing for me.
Yeah.
I just,
that's why we all got in this in the first place, was we all just really loved to play, and that's really where it all stems from.
And as wonderful as we can, I'm so thankful for things like Zoom, but like gosh, 2 of my, you know, colleagues helping me with this came over last night, and I was laughing, I was crying, I was laughing so hard because I was just like, people in the room. Like, I will never underestimate how important real human connection is after this. You know, nobody will sort of take that for granted anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait to be social. You know, I think we get into the habit of like, oh, don't make me go out. I don't want to, you know, do I have an excuse to cancel these plans? And I'm like, I will meet you in Philadelphia in 20 minutes. You know, I'm ready to go. And
gosh. Yes.
Oh my God. Well, that's so great to hear. I have been saying for a while that I think that with kind of as our industry grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and got bigger and louder and more expensive and harder to maintain and harder to keep up, I'm very intrigued to see what happens now that we have hit this. I think I am forecasting a return to old school theater magic, to small intimate theater, to theater with a message that is more than just its production value. And I'm very excited about it. And if you're watching this and you're looking for a director, Will Blum is available. And you can hire him, and I will buy a ticket. It'll be great. It's going to be so fun. Will, I know that time is super weird right now, so we're very appreciative that you came to spend some time with us today.
This has been wonderful. You guys are so kind. This was so sweet. That video, automatically, I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm honored. I'm truly, and to know that the Floyd video meant anything to anybody is just like, it kills me. So thank you for being so kind about it. It really means so much to me.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for coming to join us. It's so nice to see you. Can't wait until we can all see each other again in person.
In the real world, yes.
Yeah.
The real world.
I'll talk to you soon.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks, Will.
Bye.
If you're just tuning in,
you're late.
You missed our very special guest bartender, Will Blum, today. And we talked about everything from his Floyd Collins piece to Beetlejuice and beyond. What a guy. We love Will Blum around here.
Yes, of course we do. Of course.
His handle is still scrolling across the bottom. So if you don't follow him, give him a follow, obviously.
Yes. And also, if you want to throw a few bucks our way, don't. You can go right here to this tiny URL right here, tinyurl.com/bwaybiden, and throw some money his way. We have another debate going on tonight, and
yes, and we
he needs your support.
To support him. You guys, we're getting really close to election. If you had fun tonight, please hit subscribe on this YouTube channel. Dylan and I are but one of 3 shows that come to you every week.
Yes.
We are on Thursdays, Dylan and I, but I will be back next Tuesday with my pal Jackie Cox. We do a morning show for nighttime people called Good Morning Tonight. And this Tuesday, Dylan, is our finale of what we're calling Oztoberfest.
Bum, bum,
Bum,
bum,
bum,
bum,
bum,
bum.
bum. Do, 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 do. It's been a week of shows honoring iconic Elphabas. And next week, we are sitting down with not one, but two iconic Elphabas. We have Julia Murney and Christine Dwyer with us.
Oh my God, all friends of our show.
All friends of the show. And we've got Matt DeAngelis. And I'm just going to say more. I'm just going to say and more.
And
how about that?
more.
How's that for a tease?
That's
so
good. Remember when the
Tuesday.
end more the other day was Jonathan Bennett?
I do remember when the end more was Jonathan Bennett. You guys just, tune in. You never know what might happen. That's Tuesday, but one night before that on Monday, do you want to tell them what time is up?
Of course. I was wondering why we were starting the week on Tuesday, but
It's because I did it wrong. It's fine.
All right, bitches, get into this. Because on MT Trivia on Monday, that's MT Trivia with the MTs, Christopher Metzger-Timpson and Kevin Metzger-Timpson. It's Monday at 9:00. They have two of our favorite chairs. Just kidding. We have two of our favorites from Last Seen on Broadway and Cher, Michael Campagno and Blaine Krause.
Yes. Oh my God. Two incredibly handsome, incredibly talented gentlemen. And who knows? Maybe they'll even be good at trivia. I can't wait to find out.
Hopefully.
That's Monday. Good Morning Tonight is Tuesday. And then Dylan.
And then we're back on Thursday.
And
yes.
We're back with I'm so excited for this guest.
Yes. Talk about finishing October strong. We have Mean Girls, Kate Rockwell here. Hopefully she'll be a mouse or something. I don't know.
She's a mouse.
Some sexy corn.
She's a self-proclaimed wino. So
yes.
Who knows? I have a guess what we'll be drinking next week.
Same.
But yeah.
Same.
So we'll be back a week from tonight with Kate Rockwell. You guys, until then, wash your hands, wear a mask, please stay safe.
Stay safe.
And thank you as
register
always
to vote if you're not registered.
Register to vote.
Get ready to vote.
By the time you see us next week, we will have both voted. So stick it to the man. How's that?
Yes.
How's that?
Nice
stick it to the man.
Throwback there, Michael.
This
Perfect.
Is a rock joke. You guys, we love you all. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.